Chuka, Director of Technology at Bixal. Let's give him a round of applause.
Can everybody hear me? Feels like I'm in a cockpit or something.
You are in a cockpit, and you are flying, sir.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Pete, for asking me to speak tonight. Last year, I had the opportunity to speak at MoDev UX on mobile wearable-related stuff. So Pete asked me if I wanted to come up here again and talk about some of the new things that are happening or some of the things that I'm personally interested or intrigued about that are happening. We continue to live in a world where it's quantified self movement in the sense of everybody wants to know more about themselves. Who's wearing a Fitbit or any type of device? I saw one or two people. I think 30 million of them will be sold this year. It's a $1.5 billion industry, and I think by 2017, 70 million of them will be sold. So if you're not on board already, you may come on board, but I think most of the application or where I see a lot of the movement will be in healthcare, and I'll touch on that a bit. So there are a lot of options out there now. A lot of companies who are now jumping on board because they see the future, they see the changes that are happening in technology, they see the changes that are happening in mobile, and right now we have basic devices that are doing simple things, but they're getting more advanced on a daily basis. They're getting more advanced as we move forward, and but one of the things that I feel that is about to happen since technology is changing on a more rapid pace is that we're going to soon see a transition. And the transition that we're going to see is, what some people call wearables 2.0, in the sense of right now we just have armbands and things, but they're going to become more integrated inside of your clothes. And then also what I'm going to talk about specifically, they're going to stick to your body. But right now we're kind of in the phase where companies are starting to play around with smart clothing. This company called OM Signal, they are actually, I think, taking orders now for their smart clothing, whereas it's a Fitbit type device, but it actually connects to your clothes, and that device or your clothes is actually transmitting the information to this thing, and of course it's now connected through Bluetooth to your mobile phone, and so they're doing some pretty interesting stuff. Under Armour, I'm really fascinated by some of the things that they're doing, and I want to show a quick video that they released about a year ago or maybe 6 months ago. It's about a year ago, on some of the futuristic things that they're doing when it comes to wearable and clothes. Let me see if I can get video on this real quick. Oh, were we able to get video by any chance? Oh, I'm sorry, audio. Okay. If we can, it's not a problem, but I think the message will get across. Is that it? Cool, let's see if we can. Hopefully it's not too loud for everybody. So the device they're wearing on their chest is collecting information for them, on them as they're actually working out. But the end of this video is where, as a geek, I'm most interested in this scene here, actually, where she's actually using, touching her shirt, and it's responding to her. So now, to me, that's very cool technology. I think Under Armour says that the technology is a few years away, but they're rapidly really working on it, and that's pretty cool stuff. Back to my video real quick. So that's kind of what they're doing, but for the purpose of this talk, I wanted to talk about what I believe is going to be next. We're in this stage where technology continues to get faster, smaller, And one of the things that companies have started to play with is what they call wearable electronic tattoos. And the application that I see for this most readily is for healthcare purposes, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. But that's kind of the direction in where wearables going next, is that instead of you remembering that you have to wear something, or that you have to put something on your hip, this is something that you just stick to you. It sticks to you for a couple weeks, and it's collecting all the information about your body and sharing it with a mobile device or sharing it with your doctor. What's really interesting about this technology is that it's really like the cells within it are nano-sized silicon wires, and they're built to be flexible. So, and they include sensors. So I can see it here. Like, for instance, the diagram here has something like for an ECG, which monitors your heart. The EEG is for brain waves, and then it also has temperature sensors for your body as far as monitoring your body temperature. It's got stress gauges, so it's able to monitor if you're stressed or not, and transmit that information. It's also got a very nano-sized LED built into it, and the technology is also built so that as it's collecting this information, it's transmitting it to your mobile device or whatever it may be. So this is an example of it actually being stretched. So traditionally, as we know, technology boards semiconductor boards are traditionally boards that aren't movable. They're very rigid. But the company that actually built this is called MC10, and they're doing some interesting things regarding this technology. So this is stretchable, and it's kind of like a Band-Aid. You can put it on your arm, on your chest, and it starts to collect that data. And I believe 2 weeks ago, we heard that Google's working with this company to do some interesting things when it comes to glucose levels. So I think they met with the FDA or something to discuss releasing something like this. So it's a contactless that you wear, so those that have issues can wear something like this, and it's able to transmit that information to a mobile device, so that way you can monitor your glucose levels in real time. So what are some of the benefits? You can wear it and forget it. I'm an ex-Fitbit user, and the reason I say that is because I've gone through 2 of them already. They break, they get lost. I have friends that have lost 4 or 5 of them, and that's one of the most frustrating things about it. In addition, I wear a watch, and it just feels weird wearing something on my right arm, and it also feels weird wearing 2 things on my arm. And Fitbit is great when you can use it to monitor your sleep, as an example. But I feel like I'm wearing a watch while I'm sleeping, so it's actually it's very annoying. And not only that, I've broken 2 of them, so my wife is like, "You can take a break." This technology prevents a way where, as a user experience, when it comes to using something that is supposed to be an enabler, it's something that you can use without having to change your existing habits. And because it can monitor your body temperature, your heart, your muscle, your brain activity, I think we'll see more sports athletes utilizing the technology as well, because you don't want to be Usain Bolt with an armband running. I mean, there's something about it. Maybe it's going to mess up your stride, as an example. But something that's on your chest, under your clothes, you don't have to think about, is an opportunity. And just like the video that we saw, Under Armour sees a tremendous opportunity for that when it comes to sports. Another thing is that the cost of healthcare. I think the biggest thing about wearable technology is that it's going to dramatically change the cost of healthcare. That's one of the central problems. I mean, just to get a test from a device, from a machine that costs $500,000, your insurance is going to charge you for that. So, the future of this type of device, and because it's reusable, or you can just throw it away and get another one, they believe that in the next few years, after the device has been introduced, prices will come down where it's probably cost pennies to $1 to just stick a Band-Aid on you, and it's providing some kind of data about your body. Also, increased accuracy and 24/7 monitoring. Right now, if you have a Fitbit or any type of device, it's using algorithms to kind of figure out how many steps did you take or what's really going on with your body. But the fact that you can have something that sticks to your chest, I think it's going to dramatically increase, the accuracy of the data that it's providing. And in addition, you know, people that have chronic diseases or medical issues, you now have 24/7 monitoring. One of the interesting things that I've heard about some of the things that they plan to do is the fact that it has predictive analysis built into it. So that way, somebody that's prone for a heart attack, it may be able to predict if they're going to have a heart attack in the next 10, 15 minutes, that kind of thing, because your body naturally gives off signs of, things that are going to happen to you before they happen. But obviously there's issues. Presenter before me spoke about privacy issues, things like that. And I think that's one of the central issues that needs to be solved as we move forward. I mean, definitely for people that have health issues, this makes sense. But for everybody else, who's using it on a daily basis, we're kind of, right now, I feel that we're pushing off the health issues. We're just saying, okay, no problem, we'll use it. We're using your Fitbit. That's being transmitted to the web and stored on their servers, all that good stuff. But I think we're continuing to go down that slope of, what are the privacy issues and how can we resolve them or minimize them or keep people secure. Another thing is false positives. Because, my wife, she's in school to be a nurse, and she's always like, body is very complex. Things are happening all the time. And one of the things that I know about some of this technology is the fact that because the body is so complex, when there are changes, your doctor might be alerted that something's about to happen, but nothing's really happening. Your body's just going through a minor change. So that's one of the things that the technology needs to resolve as we move forward. So, really want to just touch on that. I think it's very interesting technology. We're going to see a bit more of that in the next few years. I definitely see the impacts when it comes to health, when it comes to our lives. It's definitely going to get me back on board, possibly with with a wearable device that I don't mind using. I don't have to think about, and I think it's definitely going to save some lives as well with people that really need technology like that to monitor them on a daily basis. So that's it. Thanks a lot for your time.
Check 1, 2. Okay, how about turning it on?
Hello, very great presentation. So I have two questions. The first one is, how do you think manufacturers like Under Armour can convince the consumers to actually get into this technology? I have a Fitbit too, but when I take it off, I forgot about them.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't really draw a correlation between, I'm wearing a Fitbit, my life is better, I'm living a healthier life. So I felt monitoring is great, but a lot of people with those technologies still don't know what to do with it. So that's my first question. And then the second question, related to privacy.
Yeah.
How do you see advertisers or other companies using those kind of information to benefit consumers' life? Thank you.
I think your first question, I think everybody's kind of in that stage right now. The industry in its infancy is in that stage now where we're interested in this information, but when I look at my Fitbit, I know that I've walked 5,000 miles or whatever it may be, but we don't have a direct correlation to what benefit that it's creating for us yet. So there is somewhat of a fascination to the to the technology right now. I think it'll continue to get to a point where we can see the benefits. But I think that's a software problem. I don't think it's a hardware problem. I think it's a software problem. Whereas somebody can translate, okay, if I've taken 5,000 steps today and cumulatively, 20,000 steps this month, this is the benefit that this has helped me reduce my blood pressure from this amount to this amount, kind of thing. So the data is there, and the technology continues to improve to get better and more accurate data, but I think it becomes a user experience and software problem in correlating that data to each human being. As far as privacy, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. I think consumers need to better understand, what software they're using and what that software is doing. And I think there's a big blind wall right now between, what apps that you have running on your machine. I mean, running on your iPhone as an example, and how much of your data is actually being taken and used or sold, that kind of thing. So that's going to be interesting, I guess.
Okay, 1 second. Let me give you the mic.
I was just curious if I don't know if this is coming through. You can't hear it
I
on the
can't hear you.
microphone. Does Fitbit keep your data? Like Google keeps your data, or do they?
They store they store your data on the web. I mean, if they store your data on the web, I would presume they have access to your data.
Does Snapchat keep your pictures? Right? They don't, but the NSA does. So it's all good. It's all good. Anyone else? Anyone else? Any comments, questions? Before we get on to the next step and on our beta test, our next phase of our beta test. All right, let's give them a hand.
Cool, thank you.
Okay.